All right, let's go with the Charlotte Hornets. They didn't really do too much, and obviously their offseason was about as different as you can get for teams just because of how many players looked like they were in trouble just from the law.
Yeah.
So they definitely had a different offseason than most. Obviously, no free agency, no trades. Michael Jordan, maybe a little frugal. Who knows?
Honestly, can you make an F tier? This is an F. This is
Okay.
an F, dude.
Okay. I'll try to make an F tier. I'll maybe rename it and just say like worst off season, or I'll edit it as you speak. But yeah, let's see here. Miles Bridges obviously has his issues with the police. Pled not guilty earlier, just reporting that. Montrezl Harrell, unrestricted. I'm not sure if they're going to bring him back. Scotty Lewis, Kabaka, Isaiah Thomas may or may not come back. I know they're thinking about bringing Kemba Walker back as a reunion. Do you want this as an F, right? This is F. Hornets are
I mean,
F tier.
I think this is such an atrocious offseason because we're not even talking about the first major L they took, which was their coaching debacle. Hiring, by all accounts, I think a coach that we both like in James Borrego, somebody who would kind of like raise the ceiling long term of the squad and kind of made us like slight believers, at least in Charlotte at different times. And then you get screwed over by Kenny Atkinson, even though he didn't really screw you. You kind of screwed yourself, right, by putting yourself in that position in the first place. And then you end up with Steve Clifford back. Like, we're back literally 3 or 4 seasons ago with this team. They're about to get Kemba Walker back, and they have Steve Clifford as their coach. And their second best player is probably not going to play in the NBA next season for reasons he definitely should not be allowed to play in the league for. The only thing is, I actually like the pick of Mark Williams for this team. Like, I did enjoy that pick because I just think he brings a much needed facet of the game to their squad, like just that high energy big to kind of just demand attention in the paint. So I like that, right? It's just everything else is so bad, dude. It's so bad. And maybe this is where I get a little controversial, okay? Maybe this
Oh,
is where I get a little controversial.
all right, go
I
ahead.
have not seen, I like LaMelo a lot. All right.
Uh huh.
I'm not going to diss him or say he's a bad player. That's not really what I mean.
You dating older women
Just
that way?
need to see, I need to see him raise the floor of a team, right? Like, if he is truly a superstar, like a lot of people think he is,
Mm-hmm.
he has to raise the floor of this team. And if there's any season to show that this guy can raise the floor of a pretty whack squad, this is it. He's got to show it.
Got it.
I'm not sure he's capable. I'm not sure. It's just not necessarily the style of basketball he plays, but I would like to see it. And I
Yeah.
think he's got it in him. I just haven't seen it thus far in his career.
Yeah. So really quick, Pete, I changed the names of them. So we're going game-changing off-season at the top, good off-season, solid off-season, mid off-season, close to worst, and then worst off-season as kind of our tier system now. Obviously,
I like that.
came up with some really bad names, but we'll work on that a little bit later down the line. But I have to agree with you, Pete. I mean, this, like, when we look at the movements that the Hornets made this offseason, there was nothing really there that I was like, yes, this guy's gonna definitely change the Hornets. Like, Mark Williams is a really good pickup, but the losses that they had for this offseason, obviously Miles Bridges with his issues, domestic violence and whatnot. Montrezl Harrell, you know, is I think it sucks that he kind of left it. Let the audience pick the order we talk about. No, I'm not gonna let you pick the order of the teams. Um, you got Montrezl Harrell, you got Scotty Lewis. I mean, they didn't really do anything like you said, Pete. There's no player that they picked up or no one there that really stands out and says like, yes, this Hornets team could make a push for a playoff game or for a playoff team. Like they're just not going to do that, and that's the frustrating part. You had a chance to get D'Antoni, who I think they should have tried to go get, because if you see the elevation of the point guards that he has had in his that he's had through his career. Get guys like James Harden in his 30 points per game, 2 MVP season. Got Steve Nash, his MVPs. Like, you get LaMelo Ball with D'Antoni. Like, that is a ridiculous steroid booster. Like, without it being illegal, right? And so that to me is where I am confused with the Hornets of like what they just seem each and every year since Michael Jordan has owned the team. it just doesn't feel like they've made progression to, okay, we have this young core. Let's see what we can do with this young core. It seems to me that they always get misfit toys or players that don't really fit together and just can't seem to get over the hump each and every time. And I don't know, it's starting to look a little fraudulent for Michael Jordan as a NBA owner so far.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this is just a bad offseason. I really don't think the coaching situation could be understated. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how many times have we seen that in NBA history? I mean, it's a short list where you fire, by all accounts, a well-respected, pretty good coach. A team like, we talked about this pretty in depth when they fired James Borrego. Like, it didn't really make sense to fire him at the time they
Mm-hmm.
did. They didn't do anything to the team to have justified saying we expected more from you guys, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's when teams start to get, that's that impatient zone, you know,
Yeah.
where you have a guy like Michael Jordan who is, by all accounts, you know, he's going to take it personal and he's going to be impatient, right? Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
his thing. So this is about as big a step backwards as you can make, because, like, we're going to Steve Clifford, who I like as a coach, genuinely. I think Steve Clifford's fine. It's just, you know what this team is with Steve Clifford. And how long did it take until we go say we're going to go get Kemba Walker? Like,
Yeah.
if you watched any Knicks game with Kemba Walker last season,
Mm-hmm.
you know that that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Honestly, to be fair, if you watched any Celtics game with Kemba Walker 2 seasons ago, you know that's a mistake. Let alone 2 years later with this Charlotte Hornets team, this is going to be a disaster of a season. I just hope, if there's any saving grace, it's the fact that you do have superstar potential player in LaMelo Ball. You do have that. So
Yeah.
there is a world in which he elevates his game and really shows that this is a guy of the future. So maybe they're challenging him. Maybe that's what this is. You know, I honestly, you know, one last thing for them too is they didn't even really make the easy moves they should have made, which is like getting off of Gordon Hayward's contract. There are teams around the league that would take Gordon Hayward on the contract he's on. It's
Yeah.
not great. It's also definitely worse to have him in the situation that you're in. It doesn't work when you have him. He's either
Yeah.
injured or he doesn't fit with the squad that well. So they have to do something. This is another team that has to do something. I just don't think they're going to. I would be surprised if we see a worse offseason than this coming up.
Yeah. And let's move on to the Chicago Bulls. You know, they obviously added Andre Drummond in free agency. Didn't sign anybody via trade. They got Dalen Terry from the NBA draft. They lost Troy Brown Jr. He went to the Lakers. The Bulls, you know, I want to see them run it back with this team. I'd probably give them a mid offseason. They were kind of mid.
This is mid.
They didn't really do anything to bolster their squad, but they also, I mean, obviously signing Zach LaVine is a huge boost. So they obviously can run it back with the same
I
squad.
re-sign Zach LaVine. That is a little boost to that. I
Yeah.
agree. I didn't think about that.
And so I would just give them mid. Not really much to talk about other than I want to see them run it back with a healthy squad this time.
I agree. And we need to see Lonzo Ball get himself healthy. I think that definitely needs to happen. Real thing, I do like Dalen Terry a lot for the squad.
Yeah.
I think he brings a lot of good energy and defense to this team. I think that'll be a nice addition. That should work out pretty well.